Okay, for our ushers, want to help you to understand a little bit about how we work things with ushers. As I've said maybe in an earlier video that you might have seen, we always begin the service with these main doors open for the worship center. Once we get to the welcome time of the service, which generally is 1 or 2 songs in, we will shut these doors and we will shift over to having people come in back there. All right. But as people are coming in up here, generally what we have is we have people who are manning this side, this aisle, that aisle, and the aisle after that, and then the aisle all the way down, okay? And that's ushers that are just seating people and making sure people know where they're going. And generally, we're going to have a couple of ushers, 1 or 2 ushers in this area who are helping people as they come in. In other words, somebody might come in this way, and I'm standing here as an usher, and I say, oh, how are you? How many do you have? They might say, we have 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, and say, okay, just 1 second. And you will get the eye contact of the nearest usher, and you will say, I have 3, I have 2, whatever it is, and they'll give you that sense of, oh, okay, no problem, 2. And they might already know exactly where to take somebody, and they'll say, oh, please, they'll have them come to them. They'll greet them very quickly, and depending on where we're at in the service, they might be a little quiet about it, but always with a smile on your face, and they will walk them down the aisle and find those seats that they know they have and seat them. There might be sometimes if I'm one of these ushers and they say, oh, I need 2 seats, I go, just 1 second. I may not be sure where I have it, and I'll walk up here and I'll walk through and I'll look, and all of a sudden I'll go, oh, I got 2 seats right here. All right. And I'll come back and I'll say, I got 2 here, and I can have that person send them my direction as I walk towards them. Okay. I don't want to look at a guest or any attender, okay, any attendee, and start giving them, hand signals and acting like I'm air traffic control and have it seem like they're being handled like traffic. Okay. I do not want to do that, but there's always a smile on my face. I'm usually trying to communicate with whoever that usher is here that's handing them off to me. And I'm going to say, oh yeah, I got 2 here. You can bring them this way. And I say, oh, she'll help you out down there. But don't bark out like orders for the people that you're finding seats for to come to you. I think that makes sense. Nobody would intentionally do that, but we could do it unintentionally. Okay. But there might be some ushers down this way, and this person who's kind of working the door, the usher or 2 ushers, are really sort of orchestrating this and connecting a lot by eye contact with the ushers here. Now, when you come, and if you're coming from Fort Washington and you're unfamiliar with how we do things, they're going to give you a good feel for how we communicate. I'm not going to do that on this video, but I just want to give you a general sense of how it feels, okay, and how it's supposed to work, all right? But we have people that are overseeing these different sections, and then what they are doing is they are making sure that there's a clean handoff from one usher to the next so that we can find seats for them, okay? Generally, at this point of the service, when we're in this area, it can be kind of a little bit chaotic, a lot going on, a lot of people coming in. You just have to go with the flow, all right? Don't let that get to you too much. Pretty quickly, things start to settle down. Now, I'm going to walk over to the other side here, because once those doors shut and we are receiving people from these back set of doors, which is over here, then generally the way this looks is we want to have somebody handing out the worship guides always out here on the tile. Even when we have to shut these doors because maybe we're in the middle of the welcome still, and maybe it's prayer time and we don't want to have the door open because it's too loud, I always want to make sure I'm standing out on this side of the doors handing out worship guides. I am here to be their point of contact to getting into the worship center. I am their greeter, okay? Never should I be standing in here with the door shut. Here's how that looks, by the way. And the reason I go to this detail to do this is because this is what we've done at times in the past. If I'm standing in here because I want to hand out worship guides and people are late, which is what they are at this point if they're coming in, okay? If I'm standing here looking through the door going like, not yet, how do you think that makes them feel? Not really good, right? Now, I understand that they're late, but we're not here to really give them a lecture about that. At least they made it, okay? That's my attitude. At least they made it. I'm glad they're here. They didn't let the fact that they're late keep them from coming. My prayer is that they will begin to come more on time, okay? But I do not want to make them feel condemnation and guilt because they're late. I believe that's what this communicates. I want this. If I have to have the door shut, then I want to be over here, and I can greet them and let them know how glad I am to have them come. And usually, here's what they are saying, guys. Oh, we were late. Oh, we're always so late. I am not here to be their lecturer, okay? I am here to go, hey, I'm glad you made it. At least you made it. We'll get you in there in 1 second. No problem. It'll all be good. They know they're late. They don't need me to say anything about that. So that's why I'm out here. I don't know why I tagged that on. I don't think anybody's been out here lecturing anybody, but I just wanted to say it anyway. There's a way to make people feel comfortable and excited to be here, and that's one way to do it. All right? So that's the little thing about what we do handing out worship guides. Now, in here, this is the area where those ushers who were working the door on the other side over there and were handing them off are now kind of working this area. What those guys are doing is they are coming back towards the door and they're going, oh, how are you? It's good to see you. How many do you have? Oh, you have 3 people? No problem. Here, come this way with me. And as I'm walking up here, I'm either going to have somebody standing here that I can say, hey, I need 3 seats. And that person is looking down this way, and they're looking down this way. And what's happening is these people have already been telling them, I have this many seats, I have that many seats. This is what I can do. This person has an idea of what we already have and a good place to send them, okay? They're a good traffic cop. Sometimes this usher might be walking up and they might not see anybody. That's okay. You walk up, say, just 1 second. I've done this before as associate pastor. I'm not an usher, but I've done some seating at different times. I will look down. I will see, let's say Chris Wales is standing down at the end. I'll look at Chris Wales and say, I have 3 people. And he'll look at me and say yes or no. And if he says yes, I'll say, guys could just come this way. You see that guy down here? He'll be happy to find you a seat. If he says no, then I'm going to look back this way and say, hey, I have 3 people. I'm going to make sure I find a seat for them. There shouldn't be any issue at any time, okay? But that's generally how we work that. And then I'm just going back and I'm getting more people. Sometimes we might end up with a little bit of a line of people. We hope not to let that happen, but even with several ushers working it, it can get a little bit crazy sometimes. That's a good problem to have, all right? Now, something I want to focus on here with our ushers beyond that. This area, sometimes we've become very comfortable at talking a lot and just interacting a lot. That cannot happen, all right? And here's the reason why. These folks right here, for some reason, are sitting in this area. Even if there's seats available up front, sometimes they need to sit here for whatever reason, and they are trying to worship. Now, would I choose this spot if I really want to be in the zone and not have a lot of distractions? Probably not. But they still deserve to have the opportunity to worship without distraction, okay? And what that means is if I'm standing over here and I'm going, hey, you check those seats over there. Hey, what's going on? There's a couple that's coming in. We need to figure out what to do. And if I'm going back and forth like this, and I'm standing here, and I'm walking back like this, and I'm standing here, and then I'm walking back here like this, and I'm going like this, and I constantly look like I'm, Joe Traffic Cop, walking all over the place, back and forth. I hope this is making you nauseous because it's going to make my point. But if I'm always kind of doing this stuff, and I'm back, and I'm chattering back and forth, and all that stuff, here's what happens. It becomes extremely distracting. All right. And it just, we can't do that. All right. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. I understand we have a job to do, but when we're in the service and there's worship going on and the music is going on, we have to be as careful as possible to not be such a distraction. Now, get it. Please understand. I realize we come back here and we have people come in. It's really loud in here, not to mention dark. We sometimes have to say, hey, how you doing? How you have 3? Yeah, I get that. There's nothing we can do about that. But let's just try to be as discreet as we can. But when we communicate with each other as ushers, let's try to only focus on what we need to focus on. And if I can go like this or like this, and that kind of thing, then I can do that. If I need to talk to somebody, the best thing for us to do is to come over here in front of the sound booth, okay? This is where I'm standing in front of the sound booth. And we can both stand against the wall right here, and I can get very close to that person, and I can try to, as quietly as I can, let them know what I need to know or tell them what I need them to know. And then we can move on from there. We shouldn't be having conversations out here in this area, okay? We need to try to be in discrete locations doing that. And even what I said I'm doing right here, I want to do that as few times as possible. Okay, it's just so important. It gets very, very distracting. I have stood out here many times and become uncomfortable because I can see that, you know, our ushers, as they're awesome, they're amazing. They don't realize as they get into the flow and they're doing their job so well that sometimes it's getting loud and sometimes it's getting to be distracting. And so I need to make you guys aware of that. Yes, sometimes it becomes distracting. By the way, those of us on staff have been guilty of this. I've been guilty of it, okay? It happens, and some people have had to tell me about it. So I'm just letting you know about it, that's something we need to be very, very, very cautious about, all right? That's it for now for our ushers. I hope that gives you at least some understanding of what we're doing. One other thing, excuse me for that coughing in the microphone, but at the end when we do the offering, okay, we need to know where I'm going to be covering before the service begins, all right? And I need to have my basket with me, all right? The last thing we need to do is come back to this area after the message, and let's all stand here and figure out where we need to go to do the offering. What spot are you covering? Yeah, I'll cover that. You cover this. That is something that should have been figured out ahead of time. You need to know what area you're covering. Have your basket with you. I mean, even if you're just sitting in your seat, you can have it with you. And then literally when it's time to do the offering, you can stand up and do it. And I would recommend, if I'm going to be doing the offering over there, then I'm going to sit over there. All right, if I'm going to do it in the middle section, then I want to try to sit in the middle section. That may not always work out. That would be the best option. But wherever you sit, try to have the basket with you. Don't be back here having a big convention figuring out strategy of who's going to do the offering and where. We should know this already. This is a crucial time in the service. This is a time of reflection. After the message, this is a time in which people need to remain focused. And if the ushers are up walking all over the place and talking, then that begins to give this impression that we've wrapped all this up. This reflection, all the sermon is over now. We're getting ready to wrap this puppy up. It's almost time to go home. And you guys, it almost gives people this unspoken permission to just shift their mindset, okay? So I just wanted to mention that. And now I really am done with the video for our ushers. All right, God bless.